In a city of millions, it's easy to feel anonymous. But what happens when that anonymity turns into something terrifying? When people, especially kids, just vanish from the streets of India's capital. Today, we're diving into the really alarming data behind a crisis that's unfolding in Delhi. And it all starts with a single, desperate plea.
If I don't find my child, I will die. Just let that sink in for a moment. These are the words of a mother. It's a raw, desperate cry for help that gets right to the very heart of this story. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about a human cost that's almost impossible to bear.
So, who said those words? They belong to the mother of 16-year-old Ritik Jha. And while his story is just one, it really represents hundreds, maybe thousands of families who are caught in this exact same nightmare.
And here's what makes his case so baffling. Ritik wasn't what you might call a troubled kid. Not at all. He was a top student, super focused, with this incredibly bright future ahead of him. He was even preparing for the JEE mains, one of India's toughest engineering exams. Then, on December 17th, he just walked out of his home and never came back. Now, on top of all that grief, the family is just incredibly frustrated. They say that when they first reported Ritik missing, the police were just too slow to act. In fact, they claim they had to go out and gather crucial CCTV footage all by themselves, feeling like no one was taking their son's disappearance seriously. And that right there is the crucial point. As heartbreaking as Ritik's story is, it's just a single thread in a much, much larger and more disturbing pattern that's emerging all across the city.
Okay, so now let's look at the actual data. And we're just talking about the very beginning of this year. What these numbers show, well, it's pretty staggering.
Get this, in the first 27 days of January 2026 alone, 807 people were reported missing in Delhi. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. More than 800 families were just plunged into total uncertainty in less than 1 month.
Now, okay, there is some good news here. The police were able to trace and locate 235 of these people, which of course brought immense relief to their families.
But that leaves us with this number, 538 people who are still missing. Their whereabouts, completely unknown.
To put that into perspective, it breaks down to an average of 20 people vanishing every single day. That's like an entire classroom full of people just gone, without a trace and with absolutely no answers.
And when you dig deeper into the numbers for minors, kids under 18, from that same period, the picture gets even more disturbing. Of the 137 minors who are still missing, an overwhelming 120 of them are girls. That's almost 88%. The gender disparity here is it's stark, and it's incredibly worrying.
So with numbers like these, you'd think the city would be on high alert, right? Well, the official response from the Delhi police tells a very, very different story. And this is where we start to see two completely conflicting realities emerge.
The Delhi police put out an official press release, and in it, they said there's no reason to panic. They claim that missing persons reports are actually down compared to previous years. They say there's no evidence of organized gangs kidnapping people, and that dedicated teams are on it. They've also warned everyone against spreading rumors.
And this really shows you the two different worlds we're talking about. On one side, you have families saying, the police aren't doing enough, we are desperate, we are terrified. And on the other side, you have the official position, dedicated squads are working, there's no reason to be afraid. It's just a massive disconnect between what these families are living through and the official bureaucratic response.
Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question that just hangs over all of this data and all of these stories. Where do all these people actually go?
If we look at the data from the past decade, the problem becomes even more stark. Since 2016, almost 61,000 children have been reported missing in Delhi. Now, thankfully, the vast majority were found, but nearly 7,000 have never been traced. They have, for all intents and purposes, simply vanished.
Let's put a hard number on that. 11%. Historically, that means about 1 in every 9 children who goes missing in the capital is never seen again. They become a permanent statistic and a permanent hole in the heart of a family.
And yet, despite thousands of children disappearing forever, despite that obvious gender disparity we just saw, the official line hasn't changed. The police continue to maintain that no organized criminal gangs are behind this.
So we're left with this one haunting question you see on the screen. So, where are these children disappearing to? I mean, if it's not organized crime, if it isn't some kind of coordinated effort, then where do they go? It's the question every single one of these grieving families is asking, and it's a question the city still has no answer for.